What is up, all you mentees? This is the Uncanny Omar from Near-Mint Condition, and join me today for an overview of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Beyond the Grid Deluxe Edition from Boom Studios. So, please stay tuned. And welcome back. So here we are with the 4th Deluxe Edition in the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers line from Boom. Here's what all the front of the hardcovers look like. Big fan of the characters just holding their helmets. We have the Green Ranger, we have the Red Ranger, we have Lord Drakon, and then the Ranger Slayer here. And I know there were limited edition hardcovers that were originally released, I think at San Diego Comic-Con, but these are the standard releases that went out everywhere. We've had a couple of printings of volumes 1 and 2, one printing of volume 3, and then one printing of this recent book. That is out of stock places, but it is coming back into stock. I'm not sure. I think the book market over-ordered how many they were going to get, so that's the story behind that. That's why you can't really find it at comic book shops or cheap graphic novels or in-stock trades. I think cheap graphic novels actually got a few. Now, let's look at the spines. I'm a big fan of these spines. I love the fact that they're using power coins here. And I like that the credits are at the bottom. So you can probably tell this is the thinnest one. However, I will say it's also the cheapest one. All three of these are $75 each, and this one retails for $60. Not too exciting, but here's what all the backs look like. They just have the Hasbro logo and the Boom Studios logo. And of course the retail price. Now, let's take a look inside. Alright, so like all the other ones, there is no dust jacket on the hardcover. We have pink bookend pages. And we have, it's interesting, this is where all the praise for the series is. And we have the production here on the left-hand side, the people that put the book together. And written, all of this, by the way, with the exception of the 25th anniversary special, is written by Marjorie Bennett. And all the art is Simone Di Meo. So, I have to talk just a little bit about some spoilers. Not very much. I'm not going to give away too many things in case you haven't read it. Number one is this takes place immediately after the events of Shattered Grid. After the good guys, well, quote-unquote, won. Right? So that's where this is taking place. The second thing I was going to say is I'm not a huge fan of Power Rangers. I didn't grow up with it. I was a little bit older when it was coming out on television. Both of my brothers watched it. So every once in a while, I would watch, these cute girls in spandex fighting giant monsters. Why would I not do that? And of course, a lot of it was borrowed from the Sentai footage. And I've seen a lot of the original stuff, but I'm not familiar with all these characters that are about to be shown in these pages. So I think this particular story will mean a whole lot more for people that are fans of the show and have watched every season and know all these little Easter eggs. For me, this is a little bit confusing, and I'll tell you why. So this is all after Shattered Grid, right? And this is where I have to talk a little bit about a spoiler, and that is the reason why we have the Ranger Slayer on the cover. So, not going to give away the identity or anything, but the Ranger Slayer is now trapped with a bunch of other Rangers from different dimensions, from different timelines, in the Prometheus spaceship. So these characters are all stranded in this new reality, this new universe, and nobody can morph, with the exception, and morphing, that means transforming, by the way, for those of you that don't know, with the exception of 6 Rangers. And I am censoring some of the image up at the top so you don't find out the identity of some of these characters. So you have the yellow Zeo Ranger, you have the green Ninja Storm Ranger, you have the Ranger Slayer, the Magma Defender, the Red Ranger, Space Ranger, and then the blue, I'm not familiar with this. This is from Dino Charge, yes. See, I'm learning a lot through this book, this series. So those are the only 6 Rangers that can morph. And this is where we are introduced to another Ranger, a 7th Ranger. This is the Solar Ranger, and with her is the Solarix, which is an item that's going to become important for the Rangers, because that is their way out. We're introduced to a new villain, the Praetor, and that's what he wants. He wants the Solarix. Why? Well, I will leave you to find that out. And that is pretty much it. These Rangers that are stranded in this other dimension are trying to make it back to their world. The Praetor is seeking the power that the Solarix, or the Solar Ranger, has. That's Solarix. and he is not going to stop at anything to get him. So, to me, I think this is a lot different than all three of the other hardcovers that have come out before. And I know I'm not doing a review of the book, but I'm a big fan of this series. I grew up, like I mentioned, not watching Power Rangers, and I fell in love with the comic book. I love the characters, I love the artwork, and Kyle Higgins was a big part of that. So this is post Kyle Higgins. Kyle Higgins left after Shattered Grid, and Marjorie Bennett took over the run. And I loved her animosity. I'm a big fan of that, but there's just something about this that I just could not get into. The art, while it's wonderful, it's a little hard to follow at times. It's kind of like the story. It's a little hard to follow at times, and I don't know if that's because I'm not a fan of the original shows, and I don't know who there's a ton of characters that show up, and I don't know who is who and what the stories are behind. Like, we have this character of the Blue Ranger from the Dino Charge, right? His name is Heckle, and it's kind of like a mix, I assume, between Jekyll and Hyde. And apparently he was evil at one time, and now he's good, trying to find redemption. There's a little backstory that explains that. So the other two characters that are brand new, I think, to the franchise, and you all can correct me if I'm wrong, are these characters right here of Remy and Ilarion, or Ari. And Ari, or Ilarion, is the Solar Ranger. Now, I think they're new characters, and like I said, correct me if I'm wrong, but none of their backup story is told until the 25th anniversary special, which we'll get to. So this collects issues 31 through 39 of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. And if you're expecting to see characters like the Red Ranger, Jason, or Tommy the Green Ranger, or Zach, or Trini, or Billy, or Kimberly, well, let's just say they are not anywhere in here. As a matter of fact, this is literally just the story of those 6 Rangers, 7, including the Solar Ranger that I was talking about earlier. Then we do get a 25th anniversary special, so it's a one-shot. We'll look at the covers and the build here in a second, but this is the one-shot. There's about 6 or 7 stories in here, written and drawn by different people. You have stories from Mighty Morphin. This is in the past. A lot of backup stories here. Yeah, from people's past, which I think is pretty cool. But this is where you find the background story between Remy and Ari, and that's in these pages here. And this is written by Marjorie Bennett. So I think it was important to, this is how these two characters met. So I kind of like that it's back here. And let's look at the cover gallery. So here is the beginning of the cover gallery. Much like all the other books, all of this is nothing but the covers. So we're not going to look at all the pages, but just to show some of the original covers, and then of course the variants. And I'm making sure that there's no spoilers. It was a different read, and I've heard a lot of things about Marjorie Bennett's run, how it doesn't hold up to, those are cool, Kyle Higgins' run. I think there was a lot of story in there, and the last 3 comics were just super rushed. It felt like it just kind of just dropped you in the middle of a story, and it ended, and now we are waiting for, oh, that's the other thing that's in this book. This is really cool. Is we get a preview of the next event, and that is Necessary Evil. And Necessary Evil is written by Ryan Parrott, and Ryan Parrott is the gentleman that's writing Go-Go Power Rangers, which is kind of like the flashback comics where you find out how the original 6 got along right after Tommy was the Green Ranger. And I don't know if it catches up with the timeline, or how it takes place, because none of this has been collected in a deluxe edition. Here, let's look at a couple more. But you do get a small preview of that. I think that's the next crossover between Mighty Morphin and Go-Go. And recently, the series has been rebooted. Or the numbering system has been rebooted. There are, I think it's Mighty Morphin and Power Rangers. They're both issue 1s now, again, just recently. So this is some of the artwork, and this is my take on the book. Sorry, I guess it was a little bit of a review. Yeah, so let me know in those comments down below if you enjoyed the story or what you thought about it. To me, it was just way convoluted, and so many new characters I couldn't keep up with. It really would have helped to have at least 1 or 2 characters remaining from the original series, but I don't know. Maybe it was just me. But, you know, I still read it because I like the comic book and I wanted to follow these characters. But, yeah, it's weird not seeing Jason, Tommy, or Kim, or Trini, or Zach, or Billy until you get to the very end in these flashback issues. Oh, this particular story is really cool. This is during the Mystic Force, during the Mystic Force years. See, I didn't watch the show, so I'm learning most of my Power Rangers things through this comic. The book, by the way, has 352 pages. All the paper quality is the same as the previous books. This really thick and glossy paper. This is the villain right here, the new villain, Predator. And here is the binding. Sewn binding, and there's that eye. And just to wrap it up, yeah, it was an okay story. Not my favorite one, but I think, you know, all 4 of these books look wonderful on the shelf. And that, as they say, is that. If you're interested in this book, don't forget to check out our sponsor, CheapGraphicNovels.com, your online source for collected editions up to 50% off retail price. Cheap Graphic Novels prides itself on excellent packaging, so your stuff gets to you in excellent condition, and they have amazing customer service. Check out their bargain deals for up to 90% off cover price. And for all you Minties that are watching, if you're a first-time customer, don't forget to mention that Near Mint Condition sent you their way for a promotional credit on free shipping on your next order. Now, this is only for U.S. customers. CheapGraphicNovels.com, your source for the hottest books with deep discounts, customer service, and excellent shipping that will keep you coming back for more. And that was the build, the page count, and the content of this deluxe edition. Let me know in those comments down below if you're picking this up, if you've been reading them in trade paperback format, if you were hoping that they were going to collect the Go-Go Power Rangers in deluxe edition, what you thought of the story if you've read it. So I would love to know all those comments down below. If you have any more questions, please don't forget to leave those comments down below. Again, this was the Uncanny Omar. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe. We can be found on Patreon and Redbubble. Amazing ways to support the channel. Thank you to our existing patrons. All of that information is in the description down below. More importantly, please all of you, stay healthy, stay safe out there, and much love.